Us for Palin Market Research. Sarah Palin's impact on Alaska tourism. Survey sampled 497 people with a confidence of 95% and margin of error of plus or minus 4.4%. 400 people in the sample traveled to Alaska between August 2008 and the present. Of the 400 who went to Alaska, 60% went one time and 22% are frequent travelers to the state. Of the 400 Alaska travelers, 44% said Sarah Palin is a motivating factor. 42% of the Alaska travelers spent between $1,001 and $4,000 on their trips. 39% of the Alaska travelers spent $1,000 or less in the state, and 34% spent between $1,001 and $4,000 in Alaska. Transportation to Alaska was 55% airlines and 41% cruises. The top 5 activities were riding the Alaska Railroad, visiting glaciers, hiking, fishing, and rock climbing and mountaineering. 18% of the sample buys Alaskan or Palin-related products because they support Sarah Palin. 31% of respondents spend between $100 and $250 per year on Alaskan or Palin-related products. All degrees of favorable add up to 207. No opinion and favorable are equal at 145 each. If we define a polarizing figure as someone who is either loved or hated with no in-between, these numbers prove that Sarah Palin is absolutely not polarizing in the extreme emotion sense of the term. Sarah Palin's favorable number is 42% among all respondents, with 29% each for no opinion and unfavorable. Sarah Palin's favorability is 21 points higher among those who traveled to Alaska than those who have not. 35% of the respondents said Sarah Palin piqued their interest in Alaska. From 2002 to 2008, tourism numbers steadily rose from 1.56 million per year to 1.96 million per year, which was the peak. In 2009 to 2010, the numbers declined back into the 1.8 and 1.7 million ranges. The 1.9 million range was only achieved while Sarah Palin was in office. The numbers held steady in the 1.8 million range for the last 2 full-year cycles. 11,199,900 tourists visited Alaska since 2006. Us for Palin market research revealed that 3% of Alaska tourists visit for purposes wholly related to Sarah Palin. Therefore, by extrapolating the sample, 335,997 tourists visited for a Sarah Palin-related purpose. 73% of the Us for Palin sample spent up to $4,000 in Alaska. 15% of the Us for Palin sample spent up to $7,500. 12% of the Us for Palin sample spent over $7,500. By extrapolating these percentages to the 335,997 tourists who visited specifically for Sarah Palin and using their median spending, we can definitively determine Sarah Palin's impact. The medians add up to $1,133,176,000. Sarah Palin generates at least $189 million per year in Alaska tourism. This survey would not have been possible without the generous support of those in the Palinista community who donated to our fundraiser or helped us promote it on various Facebook groups and pages. Benefactors: $100 donors: Christopher Headley, Mary Lou Wells, Joni Johnson, Kathy Maples, RJDelectric.com, Sue Lynn, Dennis McHale, Steve Brennan, Henry Logan, Amelia Rosellis, William E. Thomas. Alaska sponsors: $50 donors: O.P. Ditch, vetsforsarah.net, Harry Jaratana, Anonymous, Ilona Kelman, Diane Thilmont, Richard Baker, Laurie Davis, Facebook.com/Laurie.D1. Sponsors: Frab K. Camp, Misty Harris, Braddy Lynn, Linda Armstrong, Sarah Palin, the teacher's daughter. The following either actively promoted or permitted us to promote on comment boards: American Grizzlies United, Barracuda Brigade, Chuck Heath Jr., Conservatives for Palin open thread comments, GOP Are You Listening Facebook group, SarahNet Radio, SPN Sarah Palin News Facebook group, The Teacher's Daughter, a tribute to Sarah Palin Facebook group, Youth for Palin fan page and group. We raised $2,367.48, of which $1,530 was via fundraising and $837.48 was self-invested. The pre-qualified survey was $1,515. Prior surveys were $282.50. Reward fulfillments were $352.50, and fees were $217.28. Expenses equaled the amount raised. The closing project balance is $0. Fundraising overhead was 37.25%. Sarah Palin's Impact on Alaska Tourism was produced and paid for by Us for Palin. Narrated by Kevin Schola, SarahNet Radio. Us for Palin is not approved by former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, her staff, or any other candidate or committee.